So, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to my very thoughtful world. As you guys know, I am all about bringing positive, powerful women to the platform that are doing their thing. Like, I'm a dreamer and I like to connect with people who are dreamers. And I think of entrepreneurs as dreamers because at the end of the day, all we have done is had a thought that we have transitioned into action with and created something really good and powerful. And I believe that you can do that too. So listen, if you hang out with me, if you hang out in my world, you know my heart and my goal is to see your dreams come true as well. So today our special guest is Nerissa. I am so excited to talk with you. Can you please tell the audience who you are and tell them more about what you do?
Hello, audience. Well, Kanisha, thank you so much for your platform, for inviting me for this conversation, for us to hang out and chit chat. I appreciate you and I honor you for what you're doing as well. I just
Thank you.
wanted to say that first. But I am Nerissa Malloy. I am a business development strategist and I focus on operations. So I work with women entrepreneurs, small to mid-sized businesses that are growing fast, that may be overwhelmed and overloaded with tasks. I help them to optimize their people, their processes, their productivity, and profit. So that's what I do. I'm also a registered nurse by trade. So I provide that holistic approach to you and your business. It's just not about you, but it's also about, it's just not about you, the business. It's also about you, the CEO. So yeah, that's what I do.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So tell me what did you hear on the other side of the phone call
Mhm.
when that entrepreneur call you and she's like, listen, I need your help. What is happening in that person's life when they make that phone call?
When they make that phone call, they're at the point where they're like, they're saying, I don't know if I still want to do this.
Mm,
This is taking too much. I didn't think it would have been this like this, or I'm growing this business, but I'm afraid to say that I don't know how to run a business.
mm,
And that's that transparency when people actually realize and accept that, you know what, I need help, but we don't want it to get to that point. They may have a team and the team is not teaming. They're not productive, they're not efficient, and they're missing deadlines. Sometimes the customer service may be tanking, or their sales are stagnant, and they feel like because they don't have the leadership piece and they're not productive, they're in the weeds of everything, and they just can't get out. They feel so burdened by their business, and they can't figure out how can I get some free time, a free mind, and just get out of the weeds. So that's a lot of what's going on.
wow. That sounds like my business.
We need to chat.
I know that as being a business owner, and a lot of times what people get consumed with when I talk to some of the ladies that I talk to is that worry that what happens if I start my business, what's going to happen to the rest of my life? Um,
Mm.
what do you say to that? Like, will she have to kind of give up everything else just to get this business to be successful?
It's funny. I just had that conversation with someone the other day, and she's still at work and she knows what she wants to do, but she's afraid because she feels like it's like an obsolete, like it's business or work. And I told her, listen, start small. Just take one step. Even if you get one client, get the feel of it, and continue to grow and build it to a point where okay, maybe I can go part time, or maybe I can go PRN, especially for people in the healthcare industry. But it doesn't have to be a all or nothing type of thing when it comes to growing businesses. As we can see in this day and age, technology, there's so much opportunity. There's like nothing that can stop you from having something on the side and growing it. There's no limitations, really and truly. We have a phone, we have Zoom, we have StreamYard, we have all these different things where you can definitely provide a service and get paid, but you don't have to feel like I have to give it all up in order to be successful. And I would say if you think that, then you really need to at that point look into some mentorship and coaching. Get in touch with people that are already doing it so they can show you how you can fit this into your everyday lifestyle.
Now, ladies, listen, you heard that.
Hmm.
Because I one of the things that really kind of break my heart is to watch so many women who are brilliant, full of gifts and talents, just full of talent. And either they are when they use the talent, they give it away, or they keep talking about what they want to do and how many years they wanted to do it, but they won't take action.
Yeah.
And we know that that's just fear, right? Either the fear, some women it's the fear of failure, but some it's the actual fear of success.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever encounter that?
Absolutely. I personally encountered for myself. We keeping it real today. At
Absolutely.
every level, there is a level of fear because once you are stepping outside your comfort zone, doing something big that you feel like, oh my gosh, your brain is wired to protect you. So it's going to tell you, all right, fall back and think of these excuses and come up with different ways to talk you out of it. But you have to realize that's definitely just the fear that you have. And just pushing past the fears, like the fears will always be there. And once you understand and acknowledge, like, there's always going to be something I'm afraid of, then your mindset will be different to, okay, what do I need to do? I know I'm going to have this fear, but what are some things I need to do to push past this fear? What do I need to listen to? Who do I need to call? This many times I've called girlfriends that talk to me off of a ledge. When you're like, I don't want to do this no more. Who's in your circle? So just know that fear will always be there, whether it's fear of success, like you said, fear of failure, fear of rejection. They're all there, but they're meant to push you, to grow you, to test you, to build your character, because ultimately your calling, the people that are assigned to you, your purpose, your mission is greater than that fear. So it's really making a decision. Am I going to honor my God given talents? Am I going to operate in fear? Or am I going to operate in faith? It's two things, but it's hard to do both.
Absolutely. And that I'm so glad you said that. I like to just really go there because I think sometimes people look at, women who are doing well on Facebook, doing well on Facebook. I call it Facebook fantasy.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, we make up stories about other people's lives and we think that they are so successful that I can't accomplish that or I can't achieve that. And whatever the success looks like, it typically is something that from the outside looking in, we make up. So how did you what was it that was going on in your life and in your world that made you say, you know what, I'm ready to start my business? Like how long have you been in business and what made you jump into that arena?
Well, here's the thing. I've been in business for over 12 years because when I started nursing school, even prior to that, I've always had something. My parents were entrepreneurs. They had side hustles. My grandparents. So I had that in my blood. So whether if it was network marketing, direct sales, I was always like, listen, another opportunity, financial freedom, whatever I can do to work hard, work smarter and not harder, I was in it.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I was afraid of, truthfully, is leadership. So I ran from leadership and embraced entrepreneurship. And it's a crazy story, but as I was invited to, hey, why don't you take on this role or take on this task? I used to shrink, like, no, I don't want to be seen. I just want to come in and go, come to work and leave. I don't want that spotlight, as we know. We want to stay in the cut. But after realizing that that was my calling and being called to it, and I stepped into it and grew the corporate ladder, I understood that, you know what, this is probably where I'm meant to be. And I kept running from it. And when I finally decided, Lord, I'm going to be obedient because it keeps coming, then I said, let me embrace it. I don't know. I need to reach out to people to get mentors to help me in that space. And not knowing that me growing in the sales arena with network marketing and direct sales and tapping into mentors and building teams, all of that helped me to build also in my corporate career, not knowing that it will come full circle for me to help women in business. So I would say the thing that helped me to really move forward was actually, God has a way of forcing you and making you move and jump. And when you start seeing something over and over again, it's definitely a sign that you need to pay attention.
Yeah.
So if you feel like I keep hearing this calling, something is tugging, I know I want more. I was at that space where I knew I wanted more. So I was like, listen, I have to do something different. Quick story, never forget.
Right.
Pregnant, 9 months pregnant. I'm sorry, 7 months pregnant at work because I'm a nurse, late at night, labor and delivery, babies moving around, and I was just so tired. And I was like, you know what, Lord, there has to be more than this.
Mm.
Like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm 7 months pregnant. I'm not in bed with my feet up. I'm here working. And so it's things like that that pushed me further to say, oh, I'm going to continue building my business. I'm going to continue. I'm going to show up. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because I know where I was not where I wanted to be or where I saw myself. And I know there's a lot of women listening that may feel like, you know what, I want more. I've been destined for more. I'm determined for more. So that more, that tugging, it has to be that thing that catapults you to take that leap, that jump.
Yeah. I love that you said that. It absolutely reminded me of the moment. My moment was like late night. I think my children were um, maybe kindergarten and second grade.
Mm.
I was working a job. I was the creative director at this organization, and it just felt like death every day. Just having to go. And I remember because I, back then and still now, I never had this thing where I was afraid to say certain things to my bosses because for me, I always speak respectfully to anyone.
Right.
So I didn't ever think that there was a thing I couldn't say. I just always believe as long as I said it with respect, it could be said.
Right.
And I went to my boss and I said, I feel like I'm spiritually dying here, spiritually dying. And just that night, one night, putting the kids to bed, and I said to God, life, exactly what you said, life has got to be better than this. Life has got to be better than this. And even then, my journey didn't start where it was a entrepreneurship. I didn't even back then know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I had this desire to help women.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very strong. And I used to host these things called sister circles where I would invite friends over. The very first one I host, I thought I'm going to invite 10 ladies. If 5 show up, we're doing it good, right? I invited 10 women, and each woman contacted me to say, hey, I was telling a friend that we was doing this. Can she wants to know, can she come? That thing, I had like 25 women in my house. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I'm sharing this story, one, to say, I remember that cry in the heart of life has got to be better than this. But two, I want you to speak to this. You talk about being in leadership and how all these things you did. You know, I am a God girl. And so the Bible says all things work together. I now see that when I would do those sister circles, the very first time I had a paid workshop, right? I was whining. I was in China. I used to live in China.
Okay.
In my apartment by myself, whining to God, Lord, if I just had a place to have it. And he said, look around your apartment. Who's here with you? I was like, no one. He's like, your apartment's big enough to host it. When I got paid to host this, he brought to my mind, remember you used to do women's sister circles? It's the same thing. So talk to how your life has always been preparing you for your entrepreneurship.
It's mind blowing to just know that once you take that first step, God will bless the rest. Because everything that I did in my entrepreneurial world, building teams, hosting calls, building that camaraderie, moving people to action, is what I end up doing in my corporate space. And it's really all about, again, bringing women together, moving people to action for one common goal. So now it all comes full circle. When I work with women and their teams and operations, it's really about how can you identify your next best hire? Who is that next best hire? How can you align your skills and talents with your needs and your objectives? So now all of you can move together to one common goal to meet that objective. Had I known that all of those different things would have come around full circle to now help and serve women entrepreneurs, women-led businesses, especially since we are seeing the rise in women starting businesses, what I'm finding is that they're taking a lot of the employee mindsets into the entrepreneurial space. So they have this syndrome, I can do it all. I don't need a team. And so, but we can't you can't take the employee mindset and the entrepreneur mindset and think you're going to be successful. So that's where I come in to deal with that. Like, it's two different lanes. Yes, you have your degrees and your certifications, you're educated, you're brilliant. But now when it comes to business, you're going to have to dive to that ego a little bit and
Yeah.
accept the fact that I don't know it all.
Mhm.
I need support. I need community. I need, guidance to do this. I cannot and I don't have to do it all by yourself. You don't have to do it by yourself. You don't have to be the chief everything officer to
Yeah.
be the CEO.
It's
And
very
so get the support that you need to do that and understanding. So that was my just seeing how all of that came to play, moving people to action. When I found out about spiritual gifts, how many years ago,
Mhm.
being a shepherd, I'm like, wow, I'm still doing that. And it's just once you step into it, God is going to just open up some doors where you can be like, hey, you just did that?
Yeah. Yeah, that I love everything you said. So what do you say to the person who says, "Well, but I'm just starting. I don't have a lot of money. How could I possibly have a team?" How would you help them? Because I know that's what people are thinking.
Yeah. You know what? I've realized that when it comes to a lot of women that I speak to, that I work with, and even conversations that I have or things that I see in social media or people posting, operations is like furthest from their mind because they're like, you know what? Operations, team, all of that, like that's so expensive. I can't afford it. But it's not that you can't afford it. When you think about any business, any job that you ever worked at, the first thing you did, you had the interview. And then the next thing you met with HR. And then you had orientation. You had someone to guide you. So there was a process in place for your onboarding, for you to start, for you to learn, for you to grow. You had payroll, you had to fill out paperwork. Like there was a structure that you had to follow. So when
Mhm.
you think about your own business, you have to think about the same thing. If I want to grow a successful business, there has to be some sort of structure in place. So it's not really about just getting a team, but it's how can you start putting some structures and processes in place so that when you look at where your business is going, not where you are, but where you are going with your business, how can I make sure that I have these key things in place that will support my growth? Because here's the thing, there's women that start businesses, and again, because they're intelligent and brilliant, it takes off. But if you are building a business on quicksand, it's gonna start to sink. So a
Yeah,
team doesn't necessarily mean, listen, I need to have a whole lot of people. Just
right.
start with one person, an admin, whether it's 4 hours a week, 5 hours. It doesn't have to be a 40-hour work week. Someone that can just take away some tasks so that you can focus on growing the business and they can do all that minute admin stuff. That's the best way to start because ultimately that person is supposed to either give you more time or help you make more money. And if you look at it from that perspective, how can I use this person to help me to grow? Start making decisions from that place instead of what you can't do or the lack. Because if you're still working to, then put aside a budget to pay for that help.
That's
Just do whatever you got to do to make it work.
that's right. You know what? And I remember years ago when I was starting, I met with a mentor. She had a mindfulness center. And she said, "You need to hire someone." And I said, "I can't afford to hire anyone. I'm not making any money." She says, "If you hire someone, you will make the money." And I went way too long and did not believe her. I did not believe her. Do you know when I hired someone, I have yet to not be able to pay the person that I've hired.
Look at that.
I've never had a week. I pay her weekly. I've never had
Mhm.
a week where I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to pay her? And now I am facing hiring a second person.
Look at that.
And it's like, and honestly, my I call them my monsters, my fear. My monsters are saying, you can't afford a second person. And I'm at the place where I'm like, I can't not afford a second person
Right. Yep.
because the vision, like God is starting to download and He is centering me.
Mhm.
He has tasked me. I mean, He gave me this awesome download a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, how are we going to do that? And every day I have to keep my mind monsters quiet because my mind wants to say, you got to get that done and you don't have a way to get that done. And then I have to say, but Holy Spirit knows how to get it done because he gave me, told me to do it.
Right.
So then, my prayer becomes, help me to walk through the door of the opportunities that you're going to open. And literally today, I got an email. I've been sending out emails, just trying to get in someone's door. Got an email today, and the lady said, let's meet tomorrow. I was like, hallelujah. So I see that just as a small deposit towards trust me, trust the process. Like do all the things you can do, but then there's just some stuff that's out of our control.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. But we have to have the strategies and the methods to get the business, like you said. But then there's that part where you're like, I've done all these things.
Right.
Now.
See, the business is 80% mindset and 20% strategy. So again, what you did, you had to you dealt with the monsters in your head. So you have a framework, you have a blueprint to deal with that. A lot of times women don't have that. They don't even know how to address that. So that's the first thing, understanding like these are my mindset blocks. I'm aware of it, and these are the things I'm putting in place. So when I start battling and self-sabotaging, I can do something different and keep moving forward. And I think that is so crucial because it's going to happen. And look, even with you thinking about the second person, think about what is the potential return.
I know it's going to be great. And I am at this point where I am romancing this woman because she is phenomenal.
Right.
She says, I hadn't even thought about this. I was like, please think about it. She's like, oh, let me go pray about it. I said, well, I've been praying about it, and you're the person who keeps coming up. So let me know how much I have to pay you. Right. And she's just like, oh, okay. I was like, I'm not saying I haven't, but I believe I am the person. My walk by faith is like this. I need to know the number so I know what to pray for. So when the door opens, one, I know what to ask for. And two, when it comes, I know what to do with it.
Absolutely.
It's not, absolutely. Yes, I am an entrepreneur and I understand business is business, but I'm in this business right now where I am literally looking for a collective of what I'm calling spiritual entrepreneurs, where we can begin to meet up and collect, to stay spiritually centered as we grow our business. Because I understand that you cannot grow where you are stressed, where you are frustrated, where your heart is heavy, where you're not sleeping at night. That's too heavy. And I had to step away from some things recently that was even scary to step away from, but it was causing me anxiety. And it seemed like it would make sense because, okay, this is good, it's business, but it was creating anxiety. And finally I had to get the courage to say, I have to take a break from this so that I can be in the alignment and I can get back to hearing. I have the strategies now, but now I have to get back to hearing when God says, go, move, call that. I mean, that's what my life has been like.
Right.
And that's what people have to understand. There is strategy, but then there's an alignment that happens where sometimes you can have all of the strategies and it feels like nothing is moving.
Absolutely.
And that's where you got to get back to the centering in the mindset, or you have to begin to recognize maybe there's a mental or an emotional block that is stopping you from going to that next level. And so that's kind of where I am now. And so I'm really excited, like, to have you tonight.
I love it. I love it. I wanted to say real quick, I definitely understand where you're coming from, because when it came to the point where I had to walk away from my job, I was in that place where it's giving me anxiety, because I'm like, Lord, we're the top performing unit. I have all of my leaders. We're doing so much amazing things, and you want me to walk away? And for months, I battled with that because I'm like, this is not what I'm hearing. This is not real. It's not true. We're doing so well. I'm doing so well. You call me to be a leader. Like, come on, what are you talking about? But it wasn't until I started going through my old journals, just going through some books, I saw that I wrote 2 years prior that I was going to walk away from the hospital December 23rd, 2021.
Wow.
And when I saw that in the book, it was just like a whole release and a relief because it was already written 2 years ago. And I'm panicking, I'm worried, I'm stressed. I'm like, Lord, when is this true? And it was right there in that book. I went and I gave him my resignation and talk about scared, like just like you, moving away from something uncomfortable. Like it was giving me anxiety, not knowing that God had so much in store for me for the following year in life and business. I became a caretaker. I couldn't do that working full time. Grew my business like 3-4-fold. Like it was just amazing
Yeah.
when you walk in alignment. So, and then also real quick, I don't know when this is airing, but that same vision that you had, it dropped in my spirit maybe about 3 weeks ago that going into this next season, what is going to be required of us women is prayer and partnerships for expansion.
I love that.
Yes. So I'm hosting a brunch, and that's the theme of the brunch, to bring more women together collectively to pray and to seed on each other, over each other's businesses, for each other, and strategically, how can I help you in business? Because we can't continue trying to do it by ourselves or think about competition. It's about collaboration. So more, like you said, that community you have will be a perfect opportunity for women to think about, how can I help you, sister, in this business? Who do I know? Who do you know? But it's going to take more than one of us. Joint ventures, all those things that we see a lot of the men doing and are successful doing. Us women, we're going to have to shift and change the game and do something different for us to expand and make that impact. So prayer and partnership. So I get that sisterhood, that spirit community, totally aligned.
Listen, all you have done for me in this moment is solidify even more. Because for me, it's been like I sometimes I have to think to myself, am I crazy? I have a friend, really, I have a friend who she's also very spiritual, very alignment, but I had also been amongst a group of women who are like this, right? You know, they're about the business, they're about the numbers, which is great, which is great. It's just not my personality. And that energy, I was trying to find my way in it, and I was just getting lost in it.
Right.
And so I'm like, are we? I said to my friend, her name is TT, I call her T. I'm like, T, are we crazy? Like, do we really think business can be even like ebb and flow and we can relax in it? Or because you gotta, she was like, no, absolutely not. And I know historically, one of the hardest things when I first started my business was figuring out strategy, because I would say, I didn't, when I pull back, money comes. When I chase, nothing happens. So I was like, what is the strategy in that? Right. I didn't have a funnel. I didn't have these things. But then I look back and God had me to sit down and he says, because we was living in Beijing. He was like, your flyers were your funnel. Your events were your funnel. Because what I would do is I would host events. The environment there was so open to it. So I would host these events. Sometimes it might be 5 people. Sometimes I remember one event, the guy, he called me, he says, Kanisha, I got 75 people. I can't get anyone in the room. Are you okay with this? I was like, yeah, they want to come. But in that kind of environment, it's where people would hear and learn what I did. And then they would come to my smaller things like retreats. I used to have day retreats there. And then they would come to smaller things like my workshops and then say, I want you to be my coach. I didn't recognize that was a funnel.
Your funnel. Yeah.
Right? I was like, I don't know, it's just happening. It's just, and my husband would be like, you are really crazy. It's like, you have business out there. I'm like, I don't know, it never seems to work. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, my monsters.
Mind, yes.
And I'm a mindset coach.
We all need it. I'm a business coach, and I still need it. I need other people to tell me because we can't see it when we're in it.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Oh
So
yeah.
I love this conversation. I really have enjoyed this conversation. I have to ask you as we come to the end,
Mhm.
what books are you reading? What would you recommend for the woman watching this where you're like, you got to read this particular book to help you with whatever area?
Listen, I think right now the book that I just finished reading, and I believe every woman should read it, is Disruptive Thinking by T.D. Jakes.
I'm currently reading it.
It's a must read. I mean, when you're driving, listen, buy the book, but have it on, like car on wheels. That's what they call it. Play it audible. That's what I'm trying to say. I got so excited listening to it. But listen to it when you're driving, listen to it while you're walking. But disruptive thinking is just positioning you to look at things even bigger than where you are looking at it from right now. Instead of playing small, like you
Mm,
said, thinking about that higher. What else? Like, what is my org chart?
mm,
That's the next thing. What does my chart look like for where I'm trying to go? And every woman should have one in their business. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to fill those roles now, but you have to have an idea of where you're going and then think about what do I need to do differently to do that. So disruptive thinking, his stories, oh, it's a great read.
yeah,
I'm
I
a chapter
totally agree.
maker.
I totally agree with you. I do love that book. Listen, I am so honored that we got to
Oh,
hang out
yeah.
and that we got to do this. And in fact, I'm gonna have to bring you on again.
Okay.
Just because you are the energy, the sister type energy that I want to be around. So this is very selfish of me. I'm collecting, I'm looking for my people.
It's okay. We heard.
Good. Listen, I want to say thank you guys for watching. If you have yet to either start your business or if you started that business and you know that your vision is bigger than you, please reach out. Reach out to Nerissa. She can help you. Don't suffer in silence. Don't get in your mind about what you can't do or what you can't afford. Have the conversation. You will be amazed and surprised. And when you make a leap and you hire a coach or you bring someone in to help you with your business, God, he's an amazing guy. Like every client I've ever had, when they pay me, they get their money back some weird way. And it will be the same thing. So if you need that help, if you need a strategic way, if you know you having problems with your operations, please do not hesitate. You contact this amazing woman. Don't you suffer another in silence. Do you want to
Absolutely.
do anything like where they can find you?
They can find me. I'm on social media, NarissaMalloy.com. I'm on website, NarissaMalloy.com. You can find me on social media, Nerissa Malloy or Nerissa.Malloy on Instagram for sure. Reach out to me, send me a message. I love to connect with all of you that are watching as well. And yeah, I'm here to support you. We have a duty as women to be kingdom driven entrepreneurs.
I
So we
love
have
it.
a calling, we have an assignment, and we have people that are assigned to us. So the more that we hide, is the longer that other people are suffering because we are not operating in our strengths and showcasing our gifts and talents. So we are driven. So, Tanisha, we are on a mission.
Yes, we are. And so remember, guys, your thoughts become your decisions, and your decisions create your destiny. So have a wonderful night and create a beautiful destiny for yourself.
Take care.